Oh, hey everyone. Is it Tuesday? Happy Tuesday. I hope everyone has had an amazing day so far. Let me scroll up and say my hellos. I know there's not many people here. I don't know if there's going to be many people here. I'm hoping Mama T shows up though, because mainly she wanted my opinion on her last Warrior Wednesday video. So, who am I to begrudge her of that? So, hello, Dodie, Mama 2, Renee, Curiosity. E squared, are you here? I can't see you. If you're here, hello. That girl, um, I'm doing this from my phone, so hopefully we won't have any robot issues and all that craziness. I already turned on Do Not Disturb, so hopefully everything runs smoothly. Um, I want all the cookies. Chocolate cupcake sounds really good, but apple crumble does too. I'm actually going to make an apple crumble this weekend. I think it's starting to feel a little like fall around here. I think let's see. Our amazing weather guy said that triple digits are not in the near future or not in the foreseeable future. So we're out of that. Yesterday was 93, and I think the rest of the week it's only supposed to be in the mid to high 80s. I walk Mini Me to the bus stop every morning, and it feels so awesome outside. I love it. I love the fall. Love everything about fall. Um, okay, good. Not breaking up so far. I don't know what it is like with my phone. The Wi-Fi does pretty good, but for some reason on my laptop it just is not my friend. Hello, Daisy Joe. Oh, there you are, E squared. So I'm sure everyone has been watching the coverage and press conferences about the escaped convict. That is just nuts. So my heart and prayers go out to all of the residents in that area, because if you live in that area, even if he's not spotted for weeks to come, or he's presumed that he's left the country, or, maybe he was hit when there was a shootout, if he's presumed dead. Like, I know me personally, I would never feel content unless I knew beyond a shadow of a doubt, like if he was spotted somewhere else or they found a body. Like, I would always be on guard and nervous that he would just barrel through my door at any time. So hopefully he's caught pretty soon, and hopefully that prison has fixed that. I'm not even going to call it a blind spot because he looked right at the camera, and he just happened to be just the right little half pint to scale that wall and hop on over. But yeah, that's pretty scary. He keeps just slipping by everybody. Hey, Alabama girl. Oh, your house is all decorated for fall. Curiosity. I need to decorate mine. I have tons of fall stuff. I really go big for Christmas. It always looks like an elf threw up in here. This year, I'm not going to really do all that because we try to go out of town to visit family for Christmas. Like, we alternate every other year. This just happens to be the year, so I just can't see any point in putting everything out just to have to take it right back down without really getting to enjoy it on Christmas morning. So this will be the first Christmas that we don't have the great grandparents, so that's going to be kind of weird. That was always one of the highlights of the trip, is just sitting there and listening to stories, and the kids always had a lot of fun. But they are better off now. They're not suffering. They're not sick anymore. And I'll see them again one day. So, what else have we had going on? There, you guys, when I wasn't feeling well and just busy and just kind of blah, and I took those few days off and I just really didn't watch anything, it was amazing. It really was. And I promise you that if you do take even just 2 days off, it clears your mind so much because it's gotten pretty heavy around here lately. And I see a lot of ways that we can nip some of it in the bud. But, it's like I can't force it to happen. And it is what it is. But yeah, take those little breaks and just do something for you. Take care of you. That's always important, first and foremost. So let me look at my handy dandy notebook. I know everyone always makes fun of like notebooks and people having pens, but I'm all about it because I have to take notes on stuff. And I did notes on Mama T's Warrior Wednesday video. Mama T, if you're out there listening, you are more than welcome to come up here. I would actually like to give my opinion directly to you. And, I have some other questions too. If you're not able to come up today, I'll still give you my opinion on your video. But I do want to set up a time where you and I can talk one on one. And it can be here, it can be on your channel. I don't care where it's at, but I just have lots of questions, and it's nothing bad or anything like that. So don't get all hyped up. Another thing, I had a sub ask me in comments the other day about the Crystal Rogers case, and there's a couple of the true crime channels that are covering it. They've had a breakthrough in the case. There was an arrest made. So I'm hoping that with this arrest, he really gives them some much needed information so it can progress and maybe there can be more arrests or we can just really find out what happened to that family. That was a lot of tragedy for one family in such a short amount of time. And I have followed the case since it happened, but I haven't really gone in depth with my research. Um, so if anyone has done things like that, if they really looked into certain people or suspects or family or friends or anything like that, I'm willing to take a look at anything and anyone who provides me with any information or work that they have done. Then of course I will give you all the glory. I don't want to take credit for someone else's work. I know that a lot of work goes into these cases. Um, but I will be talking about that case a little more in depth over the next couple of weeks. It might be in stages as I put stuff together. But yeah, I'm really hoping that the remaining family members in the Rogers family can have some kind of closure and peace of mind. Hey, Dutchie, good to see you. So yeah, you can always email me at chasingjustice22@protonmail.com. You can find me on Facebook and message me that way. If you're in Discord, you can find me there. Let's see what is next on the agenda. I'm going to give Mama T a little bit of time to get here. I know earlier she ended her live saying she had to go somewhere. So maybe she's done by now. I did tag her in my community post with the invitation to join me. Oh, okay. The other day there was a video put out. I honestly didn't even watch the video. I looked at the title, knew what it was about, and I was just like, ugh. But I made a comment stating that one of my biggest pet peeves is when people weaponize CPS and make false calls. That's no secret. I have always said that from the jump. I've said it multiple times. Now, that doesn't mean that if you seriously feel like, because someone had commented back and started questioning. It was such a long comment. I really didn't even read all of it. But it was basically questioning me about, the 8 passengers woman and things like that. Well, that's a completely different scenario. That woman needed to have someone call on her. She was depriving her children of food as a form of punishment. All kids are required to have access to adequate food. They are all required to have their own beds to sleep in. So that's two rules right there that she broke. She was withholding food when she got her knickers in a twist, and she took her oldest son's bed away from him, his whole entire bedroom, which, if you're a parent, it's only common sense that males and females have their own private space, but it's also a law. Like, kids are supposed to have their space, their sanctuary. Now, I know that sometimes it's not always easy to obtain. If you're a new struggling family, or for whatever situation, you may only have a 1 room apartment, which is fine. That will work if you have only one child or two children of the same sex, but you can't have males and females sharing sleeping quarters. So that's completely different. Like, right? Yes, by all means, she was putting that abuse, because that's what she was charged with, was child abuse. She did it loud and proud on the internet for the world to see. I don't I know that I saw a part of a documentary or a video where I think it was her sister said that they had tried to get help before. I need to go back and watch all of it because I was only halfway listening. Um So yeah, that's different. Definitely call on situations like that if you have enough information to give them. But just like getting pissed off at someone and saying, I'm going to call CPS on you, or actually doing it, I mean, come on. My comment basically said that when you make a threat like that, or you think about doing that, and make sure that you're doing it for the right reason and there is just cause, because it can be very traumatic for a child, right? If you have a child that's school age or daycare age and able to understand what's going on, because 9 times out of 10 those caseworkers are going to make contact with those children, no matter what age they are, before the parents even know what's happening. um my comment was not against the person or people that were involved in this back and forth with the CPS. I was just simply stating that calls aren't cool, and it can be harmful to the children, because it can, if they're old enough to understand that someone is there asking them questions about their home life, that can put a sense of, hmm, like, they can't trust or feel secure. Like, they're going to wonder, why is someone grilling me about my parents? Why are they looking at my arms and my legs? Are they asking me about food and things like that? And if it's at a school, then, you get called to the office, and they're supposed to do it in a private area. But if they're sitting there with their name badge on that says social services, and let's say the child in question is a fifth or sixth grader, and then one of their little fifth or sixth grade classmates comes in and overhears this person that says social services on their badge asking to bring a child by name to the office, then it can be embarrassing. So just always make sure that if you're going to call CPS on someone, that, one, it's justified. Two, you have the information beyond a shadow of a doubt. You know it's accurate and correct, and you have everything to give to the workers to do this the right way. Because, right, if the child is in a dangerous situation and they need to be looked into, then you definitely want to make sure you provide accurate information. It had nothing to do personally with either one of the people in that video or whatever it was about. You guys have probably already seen it. It's on Easy's channel. Just go find it. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And you'll see my comment there, and how, like, I was even told that someone thought I was one of the ones that had my head screwed on straight. Well, my head is as straight as it can be. Just don't do shady stuff that could have a negative impact on a parent or a child when it's not justified. It's that simple. Hello to everyone who was just coming in. Next on the agenda, we're going to have a little lesson in neutrality and what it means to be neutral, because everyone knows that there's just been this big war going on, and people felt like they were threatened, or they, were treated poorly, or that people were talking behind their back. I don't really see, because I'm a pretty neutral person. And when you really look at the definition of neutral, it means not saying or doing anything that would encourage or help any side involved in an argument of war, which I've always said, this is not my battle to fight. I don't get involved in the stuff. I like people that other people don't care for, and that is my personal choice. But there's an art form to it. Being neutral isn't always the best place to be, because you have to be really disciplined. You have to have some self control to not give every opinion that crosses your mind. Um, I've always said too that I can find something good about anybody, and that's what I have to focus on. I have to focus on the good, not all the bad. Um, I can like people and not just, like, when we see Mama T, what she does for Ernie, like, that's hardcore, right? Like I said yesterday, that she's basically defending him with every breath, and he's pretty much ghosting her. Nobody's heard from him. Um, Hopefully he's doing well. It wouldn't surprise me if he, you know, got himself into a situation. I don't know. I tried to message him. He usually messages me back immediately. I haven't heard from him in 2 days. So, but also, you have to understand, like, if you have someone that's your friend and you just want to be neutral and you don't want to get involved in this stuff, you have to be willing to understand what the boundaries would be. Um, and I don't have anything against people that left a certain channel or a certain creator. Um, I can be there for support on both sides and give my opinion to both sides, but I don't have to throw myself into the thick of it. I see a lot of people saying, well, I'm neutral. I'm neutral. Well, if you're going in other chats and you're talking about one or the other person involved, then you're not really being neutral. So it's a balancing act. Um, I know a lot of people think that if you leave this certain channel or a Discord, then you're just going to be annihilated, or you're not allowed to go in certain chats if you are a supporter of this channel, or you'll be annihilated. Well, case in point, I have not been yelled at, talked down to, cussed out, pushed aside, or anything for any of the chats that I go into. And most people understand and realize that I go into all of them. I've been participating in chats, that they definitely don't get along with these people. But, I say what I need to say about the topic at hand. I don't get overly involved. I don't say anything that would appear like I'm questioning the other person. It's just basically, just be kind, when you're visiting other channels. I'm always pretty respectful of the channel holder. I try to stay on topic. I don't go in to derail anything. Um, I don't know. I mean, as far as I know, nobody has any big issues with me. I like it that way. and just, to approach every situation as an adult. Like this nonsense. Um, Mama T, I'm going to give you a couple more minutes. If you want to come up, I'll drop the link in the chat. But otherwise, I'm going to have to do this without you. And then hopefully we can set something up for my other questions. Okay. You guys are going to have to just kind of bear with me because the video that I'm going to be talking about, her Warrior Wednesday video, the last one she did, this is supposed to be a weekly occurrence, but it's more sporadic. Hey, you want to come up and act like her? That might be fun. Hey, Beth, stay safe in the storm. Hey, Kiki. Um, so her last Warrior Wednesday video she talked a little bit about an incident that happened to her. And she put the video, she made it public again for a couple of days. And I did, go through it a couple of times listening. And then I was going to go back and really comb through the chat. But then the video was gone. So I can't really say very much about what I saw in the chat. I know that there were some horrible comments made by a troll account in the private chat. I will say this, she made it sound like she knew for a fact who that person was. I don't think anybody knows who that person is. It could be anyone. Was the stuff that they put in the private chat foul? Yeah, I mean, it wasn't nice. It wasn't nice stuff. Um, but you got to let stuff like that roll off your back. You can't get all worked up about every little thing because all of us who have channels know that there are trolls out there who like to make your life miserable, and they will do anything and everything to draw attention to themselves or just be funny. I mean, people troll for different reasons. But she was pretty upset and angry that people were talking about her story, her situation. And when I call it her story, I'm not minimizing it. That's what she calls it. I think that's what a lot of people say is, I'll tell my story. I don't feel comfortable going into details about what she said happened to her without her being here because it is her story to tell. We've all heard it though, so we all pretty much know what's going on. I guess the opinion she wanted from me is, do I think it's right for people to make fun of what happened to her? Or she says that people have called her a liar about it. And here is my assessment, plain and simple. Mama T, I think your feelings are misplaced. I don't think that what happened to you in a nutshell is what people are disputing or having a problem with. I think where the problems come in is the effects from what happened to you, like the outcome. You had said that you had a miscarriage and got pregnant either at the same time or shortly thereafter. And I had commented in your chat, Mama T, and told you that what that is called is superfetation. And it's very rare. It is so uncommon that there are less than 10 cases worldwide, and almost every single one of those cases will make headlines because it's so unusual. It's reportable. People are going to know about it if you give, the doctors and stuff permission to talk about your case. But yes, it's a rarity. Now, if we go with the thinking that you had a miscarriage a couple of days and then became pregnant during what happened to you, Well, that's really not possible either, because you cannot get pregnant until you're ovulating again. So I think where the discourse comes in is you're trying to present the situation one way when everyone knows that it's just not possible. Now, I don't know what your reason would be to embellish or maybe not fully explain. If you can give a more thorough explanation of what happened to make people understand better, because as of right now, my opinion is the story you're spinning isn't possible. Now, it's none of my business. I just promised you that I would give my opinion on that and the whole situation. I'm not going to just give my opinion on the bad things people are saying to you, because we all know that people can be cruel, people can be mean. But it's the history that you have with people, Mama T, that causes them to react a certain way. It's also the way that you treat people, because you're laying down some pretty heavy accusations about people as well. You're claiming that everyone is involved in some big, huge conspiracy and setup regarding Ernie. Now, I have questions about that. Hey, Raz. Hey, D Froggies. Linda Fontaine. Everyone sneaking in. So happy you're here. And thank you, everyone, for being so respectful in chat. Even the bushwashers who might be sitting on their hands, wanting to say something to someone, I appreciate the fact that nobody is doing that. Um, but your history also has some weight with how people treat you and the things that they say. People are going to be mean. Like, how these people are. And so when you present a ridiculous story, history will tell you that you're probably going to get ridiculous feedback. Um, does it make it right? No, not always. I mean, people can be nasty sometimes, but you're just as nasty sometimes too. Like, you keep showing this video every single day about this stalker stuff. I don't understand why you keep showing it. Like, all of us saw all of that when it happened. It's nothing new. But that's why I think we need to have a whole separate conversation, because I don't know. Like, there's something in you, Mama T. Put it this way. In Discord, a couple of people in there will say, "Hey, Chasing, your girl's on." There's something in you that, like, I don't think you're all bad. I think that you just might have an issue telling the truth sometimes. Hey, Southern girl. Grinchy. So I think, like yesterday turned into a big thing because you were dishonest again. And I know you keep going back and saying, I only told that one lie about that one payment, blah, 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 blah. But that's not true. Because yesterday you said that you had text message or screenshots that were proof stating that, it was a certain person's truck pictures that were shown over the broken window thing. And that just wasn't true. And then you were also convinced about the whole money thing involving another creator. And you're like, no, she ripped her off. Well, that wasn't true either. And that's the problem that people have, is because you just spout stuff off and run with it. And everyone is supposed to take it as fact. We ran into a situation in your chat the other day where someone questioned me and my honesty, and all that's forgiven. I'm not bringing up her name. I don't want her to feel bad, because I could tell she felt pretty bad that I got a little irritated with her. This isn't about that. But when you're stating things that aren't true and people are trying to correct you, you go so hard and so below the belt sometimes, and you get nasty. You call people nasty names. You talk about their families. You talk about issues that have bothered them in the past, and it's just no holds barred with you. but you expect everyone else to walk on eggshells and tiptoe around you. And that is just not reality. It's not going to happen that way. So that's where your personal responsibility comes in. We talked about personal responsibility a couple of weeks ago. We all have a responsibility to ourselves and to everyone else to make sure that when we talk about something, we know what we're talking about. So I have questions. I want to know what this big setup is. Like from beginning, middle, and end, I want you to tell me what this huge setup is supposed to be. And honestly, who cares who brought someone from Facebook? It doesn't matter. It's no different than me inviting a friend to, hey, come hang out here with me. Yay, I brought them there. If they have problems in the future, that's on them. Nobody was out there harvesting people from Facebook to come over here just to participate in some big, huge setup. I've been trying to think about ways that I could explain it to you so easily that the reason some of these things happen to Ernie, it's because of him. The Facebook stuff, that was all about the scams and things like that that have gone on in the past with the mask thing and, all of that stuff that everyone talks about here. And it kind of spilled over here. Why did it spill over here? It spilled over because he came here and started pushing his channel, making all the same big, huge claims and promises that he made back then. He's making them here, and nothing has come to fruition. Now, here we are, and it's coming upon that month deadline that his lightning tiger is supposed to be out for consumption, or that he would have, in his hands where he could show the packaging and the label and all of that stuff. That was a promise and a claim that he made. And now here we are, and it hasn't happened. This Lightning Tiger Association group on Facebook, which, by the way, I still haven't gotten my free membership that I was promised. And I know that all of you little Tiggers probably think that I just want to go over there just to be mean and stuff. And that's not true. I'm not a mean person. I'm pretty nice. I'm pretty easy to get along with. But if he invites me to that group and is going to give me a membership, what you little Tiggers don't understand is I've messaged with Ernie a few times outside of Facebook. And I'm very honest with him. And there is nothing that I have said behind his back that I wouldn't say to his face. And I'm kind of like that with everyone. Honesty is the best policy. But you guys are sitting here like Ernie has done no wrong when we know that he has put people through hell. He's done a lot of nasty things to people too. So that's one of the questions I have is I want to know the whole story about the big setup. Like, talk to me about it. Tell me what it is that you think everyone's doing. This whole stalked bullying and harassment thing that is so played out and so old. And I'm telling you, every time I hear that phrase, well, all this stalking, bullying, and harassing, it just makes me want to shove my fist in my ears. It's torture. Because, yes, did people follow him around the courthouse? Did someone go to his court appearance? Yes. But you know what? It's okay because court proceedings have an open door policy unless stated otherwise. You can pretty much roll up to the courthouse and go sit in on any docket for that day just for kicks. The whole thing about, following them around town and the black truck and this and that, whatever. But people were so curious and wanted to know what he was doing because of the history on Facebook and the history here so far. He's not just the victim and nothing more. He's gotten his hands dirty a lot. And I guess I just want to understand your train of thought. Mama T, if you're listening, feel free to jump in at any time, or someone can go get her. I know some of y'all are out here listening, because I feel like this is a conversation we should have with each other. I don't want anything to be done, behind anyone's back. Live and direct, right here, right now. If I'm going to make the time to come give my opinion about your video, I made a community post this morning inviting you to come. So I would have thought that maybe you would have made a little time. But it's okay. We're going to get through it. But I have pages of questions that I would like to ask, because I started going through some of your lives. And if I can help you understand something, then that's what I would love to do. Because now you're starting to get this nasty attitude. And in one breath, I made a community post about that too, saying people need to stop doxing. Someone's going to get hurt. And then just a couple of hours later, because you didn't like the video Behind Green Eyes put out, you said, I know who you are. Keep playing with me. And you called her by her name. Like, why would you do that? Why would you do that? I don't understand. No, D Froggy, she doesn't always listen, but sometimes you just gotta learn how to handle people, and I'll throw myself in front of the bus and try to figure out how to handle her. If she wants to do true crime, and I've told her this before and I'm gonna say it again, this is not the way to do it. If this is how you're gonna conduct yourself and the way you're gonna gather information, then stay completely away from people's cases. And that's just my honest opinion. It's just not for you, and that's okay. Yes, Behind Green Eyes is a wonderful lady, and she's not easily manipulated, and she sees things for what they are, and she's not editing and altering someone's words to make it something else. Like, she literally clips and she changes what she has to in order for it to become her original content. So I don't even remember it was what was her video about that? Oh, the victim blaming thing. That's another thing that people are upset about, Mama T. And, I'd like to talk to you about that some more, because that's a big deal. I feel like that is an issue from your past that maybe you haven't resolved completely. I think there's a lot of underlying things that you need to fix in order to become whole again or whatever. I mean, you're a very defensive person. You don't take criticism well. And if you keep doing things the way you've been doing, you're honestly going to get the same results. Do I have any sympathy whatsoever for your story and what happened to you? If that happened to you, it's horrible. But I think that there was a lot of things added to that story, maybe to, I don't know the intent, I don't know the purpose. B, we're talking about Mama T. She did a video a couple of weeks ago. It's private now, so you can't see it. But she was starting a series called Warrior Wednesday, but it's like once a month the Warriors get a chance to talk. But last time she did it, it was like her story, what happened to her. Um, she was assaulted by multiple people, and she said that she had a miscarriage and either got pregnant at the same time or had just had a miscarriage and then got pregnant. Either way, it doesn't add up. And so people were being not so nice to her, and she unprivated the video so I could watch it and give my opinion. And I don't think the opinion that I'm giving is the one she was hoping for. But there again, if people are making negative comments towards you or they're giving you a bunch of crap about the stuff you're saying. It's because it doesn't make sense, and it's because of the history that you have with people. She couldn't understand why I couldn't jump right on panel right then and give my opinion. And I told her in the chat, I really need to see it before I can give my opinion. And she couldn't understand that concept. Well, that's something else I've always said is I'm never going to really speak about something unless I've seen it, heard it, felt it, touched it, tasted it, whatever, firsthand. I don't do this in between crap. People can tell me about something and they can point me in the direction where I can get the information all by my little lonesome. But I'm not going to give an opinion or, attach my name to something on hearsay. And that brings me back to this video that she's pushing now about this stalking and all of that, the 56 police calls. Well, I want to know who has a list and who was keeping count of the police calls. I would need to see the list with all the dates and the times. You don't have to tell me who made the calls. I just need concrete proof that I can touch, feel, smell, whatever, so I know that 56 calls were made, because it's kind of funny that there was 56 calls made on him and 1156 arrests he's made. Like, what's the deal with 56 being the magic number? I think that's a little exaggerated. Have people called law enforcement on him? Yes, for various reasons. You played that video of BK calling law enforcement and saying that Ernie was extorting him, and were in the background saying liar. Now, I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong and remembering, a different situation. But was there not a video at one point, it would have been way back, where Ernie did say, you either send me a cash app or I'm going to talk about this? It could have been someone completely different that Ernie said that to, but, I guess we'll never know if it really happened, because I'm sure the video's gone now. It would have been on one of his older channels. Yes, reflect honestly on mistakes and successes of yesterday so that tomorrow you can be better than today. And I've always said that. I always try to be better tomorrow than I am today, because that's how you grow. You have to accept when you get something wrong and celebrate yourself when you get something right. But you can't walk around here with your nose up in the air thinking that you're right about everything when you're actually only right some of the time. So I don't know if that video exists of Ernie saying that about him, but I'm pretty sure it does. I think I recall. That's another thing with me, Mama T, and why I got a little irritated that people were trying to insinuate that I was lying. If I don't know something for a fact, I'm not going to speak about it. And if it's something that I'm trying to speak about based on my memory of something, if I'm not quite sure, I'm always going to say I'm not quite sure. That is my personal responsibility when feeding information to people. I have to be honest with myself and everyone else, not just think that I know it all, because I don't. But I do have a pretty long and strong memory of everything that's happened over the past 2 years. So, some questions I have for you, Mama T. Why do you think that Jimbo is paying easy? Because you've made that claim. I'm just curious. Um, let's see. Oh, there was a comment made in your chat. It was from your Let's Chat live stream 3 days ago. Someone made the comment and said that um, something about how can your best friend exploit you like Jimbo has done Ernie. Well, I want to know how you think Ernie's been exploited. Like, I want you to explain that to me. I want an explanation of why you agreed that every time Ernie succeeds, Jimbo gets jealous. I mean, what makes you see it that way? Because that's not the way I see it. Maybe it's because I just look a little deeper than just what's on the surface. You kept saying, let them think we're stupid and the end we'll be laughing. Well, what's going to make you laugh? What is it that you think you're going to get a medal for in the end? Because for the past 2 years, not much has changed. If anything, the actions against Ernie have calmed down quite a bit. It's been pretty smooth sailing. I mean, really, the only crap that's going on is people poking and taking jabs at him over his not going to court and things like that. Um, let's see what else. You keep saying that certain people just don't want you guys bringing awareness. What are you bringing awareness to, and what is it that you think we don't want to happen? Like, what is everyone supposedly afraid of? And I keep saying we, and I shouldn't because I'm really not involved in it. But, I do have a lot of firsthand knowledge of what's gone down. You keep saying that, okay, here's another situation. Talking about what your dad did is old news, but in reality, is there anything that you talk about that isn't old news? Um, I think that you need to take a breath, reevaluate which direction you want to go in. I will extend that olive branch and I'll help you any way I can, but not if you're going to be dishonest. Um, let's see. I don't want to go mention every question I have because I have about 5 of your most recent live streams that I've taken notes and have questions on. April, we do not know if the Popo caught up with Ern yet. And thank you, Beth, for dropping Green Eyes comment or link. Everyone go subscribe to Behind Green Eyes. We don't know. If I think that some people have checked the jail website, and the ones that we know where he could possibly be, he's not there. I don't know if anyone's looked any further than that. That's another thing. Mama T's mad that people call the district attorney, and when I think, Mama T, that when you hear people say he's going to have new charges, I think you're under the impression that people can just slap these charges on. People can try to file a report, but if law enforcement does not deem it worthy of actually, sometimes they won't even take a report on it if they don't think it's necessary. But the way things work with any type of criminal case, you as a member of the public, if you have any information or knowledge of any other crimes being committed or any type of behavior that is unbecoming to someone who is already running from their criminal responsibility, you're able to call the district attorney or the prosecutor's office and give them any information that may be helpful in that case. If you know that someone's out on bond and they're running, just like if you know where that person is, then as a member of society, it's perfectly acceptable for you to call and say, look, I know where this person is. And I know you guys understand that. That's why you're all hell bent on being shady and sneaky and, coming up with all these little ploys to get people thinking that he's in all these different places. I know y'all are just hoping that someone latches onto that and starts trying to track him down somewhere, so then you guys can be like, see what they're doing? They're stalking, bullying, and harassing. The best thing you can do as his friend, Mama T, is hold him accountable. I'm not saying that you have to get on here and call him out every single day, but some of the stuff you're doing trying to defend him is making you look like a fool. And I don't mean that in a mean way. It's making you look foolish. Because you've said yourself that you haven't had any contact with him, you haven't spoken to him. I don't think any of y'all have really had any contact with him or spoken to him. I could be wrong. Maybe Lori's talked to him. I don't know. But he always messages me back pretty quickly, and it's been 2 days and he hasn't responded. Y'all have let this go on for 2 years too, because you keep feeding into it and going on these defense tours. And if you want to be his friend, you need to let him fall and then be there once he picks himself back up and does things the right way. These criminal charges he has against him, he can thank himself for that. His phone may have gotten turned off, but I'm sure that he still has more than one. And I think that, let's just say that we believe that he's been working these jobs. Now, I don't believe he's been working in the coal mines. And Mom T, that's another thing. You flat out sat on your panel and said you knew for a fact that that picture of Ernie in the mine was legit and it was true, and you backed it 150%. But then when it was outed that it wasn't true and he tried to pull it off as a sting operation, you were like, oh, I knew the whole time. No, ma'am, you didn't. You believed it because you think that everything that comes out of his mouth is 100% true, and it's just not. But you're out here putting your head on the chopping block, and he's letting you do it. But Mama T, you don't really know him. You know, this isn't some lifelong friend that if he's not in your life anymore, you're just going to fall apart. So you need to be smarter and understand that the reason people react to you the way they do is because of some of the nonsense you do in defense of him. Quit playing that stalker video. And I'm not telling you that because there's some big mysterious reason of why I don't want you coming after people. It's not a setup. It's just that you've played it about 137 times in the past 2 days. And it's not changing anyone's opinion. And it's not undeniable proof like you say it is. That is not concrete proof of anything. That is his words. And you know what they call that? They call that hearsay. None of that stuff has been proven that it's been done. Yeah, someone took a picture or a video of him outside of a gas station. Someone who was already local to the area. No one's making international trips to go stalk Ernie Shell. Yes, people showed up for his court appearance, but you know who didn't show up? He didn't. And y'all say, well, would you show up if people were there taking pictures of you and blah, blah, blah? Yeah. If it meant my freedom and my future was on the line, I would definitely show up for my court appearance. I would show up for every single one of them. And if the charges that he has against him, if he's innocent, then why not show up? Why wouldn't you show up to plead your case with, your lawyer? I mean, I'm mad for the people that donated money to bond him out of jail. I'm pissed for y'all. Not pissed at y'all. I'm angry for you because I've always said that's a slap in the face to collect money from people. Two of those people, which were supposed to be his friends, and put $1,800 in. And then he doesn't even have the decency to show up to court. if you're innocent, why not go? He's had more than enough time, especially with all the files and the evidence and the proof and the teamwork and all this stuff that he has that he's been building over the last 2 years. He should have all his ducks in a row and should have no problem walking in and telling that judge, I'm innocent and I'm going to show you how, and lay it all out. But every day that he doesn't answer for these charges, you might as well consider it another day where he has a loss of freedom, because this will all have to be dealt with eventually. Yes, even his cousin Johnny Depp went to his trial. He got all glammed up in his, I call it a costume, because nobody in their right mind dresses like that when they go out, do they? I take that back. There's a guy that we always see in the Walmart by my house, and he is like, he always wears this, and it doesn't matter what time of year. He wears jeans and like black boots with a long leather trench coat. I think he has two. He has one with sleeves and one without sleeves, and he wears this like top hat with teeth around it or something. He is just crazy looking. But yeah, it's just like with Ernie. He's not one of my favorite people. He irritates the crap out of me. Some of the stuff he does, my jaw hits the floor. Um he's got an imagination like no other, but I don't wish harm on him. And like I said earlier, there's not anything that I would say about him behind his back or anywhere else that I wouldn't say to his face. Ernie, you need to get your shit together, buddy. Quit making these women sit up here defending you day in, day out, look like fools, because you're not behaving like someone who deserves to have all these people defending you. And Mama T, you have to take some accountability for the fact that you get things wrong a lot of the time. Your friend that you're defending to no end actually gave you false information to teach you a lesson, is what he said. Yeah, that's true. He does have a long victim list. Yes, his followers do look like fools. Mama T, I've given you so many challenges, and it's not to be mean to you or anything like that, but I'm going to offer you another challenge. Try to go the rest of the week without talking about anything having to do with him. Don't defend him. Don't try to crack the case when it comes to a big setup and all that. Just stop and move on to something else, because, Newton's law says that with every action, there's going to be an equal and opposite reaction. So try to talk about something else, because obviously the reactions that you keep getting is because you keep talking about the same old stuff. That stuff you said about Southern Girl the other day, that was not cool. It doesn't matter if you like her or not. You can't sit up here saying that people are treating you so terrible and saying horrible things to you. When you go putting it out, say, oh, well, ask Southern Girl about the peanut butter and the dog. Are you kidding me? And you say that she helped kidnap your dog. No, let me tell you what happened to your dog. Your dog had an issue, a concern. You weren't able to get the appropriate care needed for that. You agreed to let someone foster your dog. But it's been, what, a year? And you haven't made any attempt to get that animal back. And at this point, It could be considered abandonment depending on the state laws. And whoever has your dog can charge you for all the boarding and the food and stuff that they've put into it. It's a touchy situation. If you think you have a case, though, then by all means, try to pursue something to get your dog back. I think that's what people want out of you. They want you to be productive and take some initiative and some real action into doing better. It's fine to make mistakes and get things wrong, but when it happens on a daily basis, then it just gets a little ridiculous. If I saw someone say something about you, Mama T, or accuse you of doing something and I knew that it wasn't true, I would open my mouth and say something. But that hasn't happened yet. I would do that for anyone. Just like with that comment that was made in that chat, and you know what comment I'm talking about. And to this day, you swear that it never happened, but we're going to just have a moment to be real here. And you, me, and the person that made that comment know that it actually did happen. The harder she crushes on Ernie, the more foolish she looks. Yes. No kibble. That's just what I'm talking about today. The whole reason this live's happening is because I promised her I would give my opinion on her video. And kibble, I've never seen you before, but if you know anything about me, you know that I don't just get up here and call people out on a regular time. So I agree with 7-7 says about Jimbo. What? I haven't said that I agree or disagree with anything. Yes, she would rather talk about it than be about it. I mean, I have a lot of the answers and can give her, opinions on a lot of things from my perception of situations over the past 2 years. I didn't just fall off the turnip truck. I've been here the entire time. I've been here since before that. So I've seen it all play out too. Okay, well, I'll speak up in my own way, in my own time. But thank you for the advice. I'm not going to sit there and say, oh, I know Kibble is this person because I don't know who it is. I know it's somebody from the community that just doesn't want to speak openly, and that's okay. That's what troll accounts are for. Yeah, nobody should be sending Ernie money, and it's not even necessarily all about aiding and abetting. It's just the fact that, you know, stop making it easy, because if people continue to make it easy for him to not have to pull himself together and take responsibility and be accountable for his own well-being, then he's not going to do it. But I guess Mama T is not going to grace us with her presence today. So Mama T, the offer still stands. I would like to do a kind of one-on-one, and we can hash some stuff out, and I can explain a few things to you, and you can try to explain your point of view, because whenever anyone tries to get you to explain why you think something, like, you get angry. Why did Mama T back up Ernie for showing a video she didn't see? Oh, that video, Linda, is that the one you're talking about? That was a terrible, terrible video. Kibble. There are a lot of players no one will take on 777. They take on the weak. Kibble, have you tried to take on 777? You want me to tell you why I haven't taken her on? I haven't had any situation directly involving me and her where she's given me reason to. I've had a direct situation with Mama T. There's been some direct friction between the two of us. And if you were here listening from the beginning, I explained all about neutrality and how I handle things. And, there's just a lot of factors that go into it. Nicolina, a lot of people, Jimbo, everyone knows that I don't always agree with everything they do. But, I'm not getting involved in every little tit for tat that comes along. Doesn't necessarily mean that I like or dislike anyone. It just means that I know where my boundaries are and I know what to take on and when. The dog. Well, the other day she was talking about you and was saying, she was alluding that there were some disgusting things going on between you, a dog, and some peanut butter. But if I remember correctly, that was a situation that there was some banter back and forth back when you weren't getting along with someone. So maybe she overheard that. But she basically insinuated that you and a dog and peanut butter were involved. And I let her know in her comments that that wasn't cool. I don't think that's cool to say about anyone. Come on now. But yeah, and of course, she thinks that you helped have her dog stolen. But you surrendered that dog, Mama T, and that's the little fine details that matter when it comes to all these police calls. And that's another thing. You can't be complaining about people calling law enforcement on Ernie because you have said that you're going to, and you even called on a live on other people. And I know that you feel like your reasons for doing so are justified. Well, then you have to accept the fact that other people's reasons for calling in their mind are justified. Ernie's done a lot of bad stuff. He's admitted it. Go back and listen to the interview I did with him. No, she doesn't like giving all the context. And context is super important. Context, comprehension, perception. I've said this before too. We could both be standing looking at the same house, but our perception is going to be different based on where we're standing, what we're willing to open our eyes and see. Yeah, Kibble, I think you're maybe are not understanding everything that I'm saying or where it's all coming from, but go back a few lives and you can see the story start to build and, what led us to this point. You won't see the part where Mama T asked me to give my opinion on her video because we did that on her panel. Hey, Mac and Cheesy. Well, guess what, guys? It is almost 3:30. And I gotta go pick up Mini Me from the bus stop. So I'm gonna wind this up. I'm gonna continue getting my questions together. I'm gonna invite Mama T to do a live with me where I can ask those tough questions and hopefully get some answers. If not, we're going to do it anyway. I'll just ask the questions and she can get back to me later. And Mama T, if you still want to talk about my opinion on that video, I've pretty much given it. But we can talk about it a little more in depth and I'll tell you why I feel the way I feel, even though I think I did a decent job of explaining it today. It's just the reason people react negatively to stories like that is because they just don't seem believable. And that is a lot of the problems that people have with Ernie. A lot of stuff he says just isn't believable. Yeah, good luck. I know that, and my girls will give me a pep talk. I love that everyone was able to get along in the chat. That's like super important to me because I definitely recognize that although there might be people in the chat that don't get along or don't like each other, I appreciate the fact that people can kind of stuff that aside for a few minutes to be here for me. So that is pretty cool. And I definitely appreciate all of you being here at all, whether it's for 5 seconds, 5 minutes, or the entire time. And I think I'm going to start going live from my phone more often, even though I can't really present anything. We haven't had any robot or skipping the entire time. That's amazing. So I hope everyone has a wonderful afternoon and evening time. Be safe the rest of your week. Remember to hug your loved ones because you never know if tomorrow is going to come. And be looking out for the notification for the next live. It could be as early as the end of this week. So I will talk to all of you soon. Thank you and good night. Bye.